So Generation Y and Z are people who are born after 1980. Generation Y, 1980 to 2000. Generation Z, for us, are the ones born after 2000. They're currently 15 and they're different. They want things fast, they want things now, they expect immediacy, they aren't going to be sending letters, they're going to be using all sorts of different channels. Many of them watch more YouTube than they do TV, for example, so they will want to use apps, social media to contact you, and if you're not there, that's going to be to your disadvantage. Above all, they want authenticity and simplicity. They can see through spin and gloss, easier than any previous generation.
As the population changes, more and more people that corporations and organizations and governments have to deal with will be from Generation Y and Generation Z. So you have to adapt to that. You have to recognize that they've grown up in the digital age. So it's pretty hard to pull the wool over their eyes, and they come and they approach things with a bit of skepticism. So what we've seen and what we think makes companies successful is really having that target audience feel like you're being straightforward with them, that you're trying to help them, and then you're not just trying to sell them something. If they believe that, if you can communicate with them in that way, they have a high propensity to buy from you. If they think you're just simply there to sell to them and you're not there to help them, they tend to look elsewhere, and they know that they have a lot of choices.
I think one of the things about Generation Y and Z is that whilst a lot of things are getting simpler for them, actually the range of choices they have available to them in a number of situations, and particularly when they're thinking about their long-term financial plan, is actually getting more complicated. One of the things I think technology can help us do is make that journey to advice a lot easier and help customers build trusting relationships.
Isn't this all part of evolution of some sort?
We're generally worried about change.
They read things in their own way. They're reading into something that's written what they want to read into it.
Certainly, language is changing all the time.
Is there any change in views around the drivers for customer loyalty and loyalty to brands?
Ever more demand for authenticity and recognition.
There's been dramatic changes in the way the Generation Y and Z have wanted to interact with LV. Even in terms of our main core product, car insurance, we're exploring with things like the telematics and analytics to find the good risks within some of those basket of risks that may not be our target market.
Technologies like voice biometrics and virtual assistants can really help Generations Y and Z to get the kinds of experiences they're used to as digital natives for authentication and or getting answers to questions, for example. Remember, this is the generations that have grown up with Siri almost from birth. They're used to these experiences.
I think technology plays an important role to cater for Generation Y and Z, and I think that's where our virtual assistant plays a very important role. In a couple of years' time, we don't see anyone using a landline to phone us anymore. We see that all interactions start with a virtual assistant. NinaWeb is benefiting our customers. We've rolled it out to 4 million customers now. We're going to continue to roll it out to our digital channels, including Nina Mobile, which will benefit Generation Y and Z since they are heavy users of those channels.
Thinking about the tone of voice that one needs with Generation Y and Z, I think the first thing is this sense of authenticity, and in a sense you can have a young or old tone of voice, it just has to be real, but also you need to remember their values are different to previous generations. They're much more informal, they are much less respectful of hierarchy, and they're much more liberal. Sexism, just forget it. Homophobia, don't even go there. Successful customer experience for this generation is all around immediacy. It's multi-channel, so they can do it using a channel that suits them, at a time that suits them. You need to be present in all of these places, but above all, it's got to be authentic.